village of Sunhill was a peaceful, quiet place. It sat in the heart of the kingdom of Revar, surrounded by green hills, tall trees, and sparkling rivers. The village was small, but it was full of life. The people here lived simple lives, working hard as farmers, traders, and craftspeople. They had small houses made of wood and clay, with little gardens in front of them where flowers and vegetables grew. The air was fresh, and the sun always seemed to shine warmly on the village, making it feel like a perfect place to live. Lucas, a young man of 18, lived in this village. He had messy brown hair, and his eyes were bright, full of wonder about the world. He lived with his parents on their small farm. His father, Halder, was a strong and hard-working man who spent most of his time in the fields, planting crops and taking care of the animals. Lucas's mother, Adelina, was gentle and kind. She spent her days cooking meals and looking after their home. Lucas loved them both dearly, and he was always eager to help on the farm. But Lucas had a secret dream. He didn't want to spend his life just working on the farm. He wanted to see the world beyond the village, to travel to distant lands, to learn new things, and to understand how things worked. Sometimes he would sit by the river in the evenings, watching the sunset and imagining what lay beyond the mountains. Lucas dreamed of learning how to make tools, build machines, and maybe, one day, help improve the lives of the people in his village. One sunny morning, something unusual happened in Sunhill. A big carriage arrived at the village. The people of the village stopped what they were doing and stared. It wasn't every day that such a fine carriage came to their small village. When the doors opened, a woman stepped out, and the villagers gasped in surprise. It was Princess Elena, the young daughter of King Aemon, the ruler of the kingdom. Princess Elena was beautiful. She had long, flowing black hair that shined in the sunlight, and her deep blue dress made her look like she had stepped out of a dream. She moved with grace and confidence, and her eyes sparkled as she looked around at the village. Elena was known far and wide for her beauty and her kindness, but she was also a mystery to many, as few had seen her in person. She had come to Sunhill to visit her aunt, who lived in the village. The people of Sunhill were excited. They had heard stories of Princess Elena, but they had never seen her up close. Lucas, too, was excited. He had often heard about the princess, but he never imagined he would see her in person. That evening, there was a celebration in the village square. Musicians played lively tunes, dancers twirled in colorful dresses, and food was shared with everyone. Lucas was too busy with his chores to attend, but as the sun set, he decided to take a break. He walked to the village square, where he spotted Princess Elena standing by the fountain, talking to her aunt. When their eyes met, she smiled at him, and Lucas felt a warm feeling in his chest. She was even more beautiful than he had imagined. Over the next few days, Lucas couldn't stop thinking about Princess Elena. He had never met anyone like her before. She was kind, but she seemed so distant, almost as if she lived in a world far away from the people in the village. Lucas wanted to know more about her, to understand what it was like to live in the palace, surrounded by luxury and rules. One morning, Lucas decided to take a chance. He went to the village square, hoping to see the princess again. To his surprise, he found her sitting alone near the fountain. Her aunt was inside the house, and the princess seemed to be waiting for something or someone. Lucas, feeling nervous, approached her. He took a deep breath and said, "Hello, Your Highness. I hope you're enjoying the village." Princess Elena turned her head and smiled warmly. "Oh, hello. Yes, I am. This village is so different from the palace. It's peaceful here." Lucas's heart raced. He had never imagined that the princess would talk to him so kindly. They began to talk, and soon Lucas felt more comfortable around her. Princess Elena shared stories of the palace, of the people she met, and the life she led. In return, Lucas told her about his life in the village, his dreams of seeing the world, and his love for nature. From that day on, Lucas and Elena met often. They would sit by the river, sharing stories and dreams. Elena was fascinated by Lucas's ideas of building things to make life easier. Lucas, in turn, admired Elena's beauty. But he also saw a different side of her. She longed for freedom, for a life away from the palace rules and expectations. One day, Elena invited Lucas to visit a secret garden hidden deep in the royal palace grounds. She had often come to this garden when she needed to escape the pressures of royal life. The garden was full of colorful flowers, tall trees, and a small pond with crystal clear water. It was a quiet place where Elena could forget about being a princess and simply be herself. Lucas was amazed by the beauty of the garden. The flowers were vibrant, and the air was sweet with the scent of jasmine. It was peaceful here, the perfect place for thinking and dreaming. As they sat by the pond, Elena smiled at Lucas and said, "I come here when I want to feel free. I don't have to be the princess here. I can just be Elena." Lucas nodded, feeling honored to be invited to such a special place. As he looked at her, his heart swelled with admiration. He wanted to say something, but the words seemed to get stuck in his throat. He couldn't quite find the right way to express the feelings that had been growing inside him. As time passed, things began to change in the kingdom of Revar. The villagers had always lived peacefully, working the land, raising animals, and trading with each other. But recently, there were whispers of trouble. People in the kingdom were beginning to feel rumors that some wanted to see King Aemon, the ruler of the kingdom, replaced. The king was growing old, and many believed that it was time for a new ruler. Some even spoke about rebellion, though no one was sure if it was true. One evening, Lucas was walking home from the palace after visiting Elena. As he passed the village square, he overheard a conversation between two men. They were talking in low voices, but Lucas could hear them clearly. "Have you heard?" one man said. "There's a group of rebels planning to rise up and take the throne from King Aemon. They say the king's time is over." Lucas stopped in his tracks. His heart skipped a beat. He had heard rumors before, but now it seemed like the danger was real. He knew that if there were truly rebels planning to overthrow the king, then Princess Elena could be in danger too. She was the king's daughter, and if the rebels succeeded, they would likely target her as well. Lucas didn't want to scare anyone, but he knew he had to warn Elena. He decided to speak with her the next day. The next morning, Lucas went to the palace grounds. He knew he had to act quickly. As he walked along the garden path, he found Elena sitting by the secret garden, staring out over the small pond. When she saw him, she smiled and waved him over. "Lucas," she called out. "It's good to see you. How have you been?" Lucas sat down beside her. He didn't waste any time. "Elena," he said quietly, looking into her eyes, "there's something I need to tell you. There are rumors about a rebellion in the kingdom. People are unhappy with your father, and I think you might be in danger." Elena's smile faded, and she looked worried. "What do you mean? Is this really happening?" Lucas nodded, feeling a heavy weight on his chest. "I overheard some villagers talking about a group of rebels. They want to take the throne from your father." Elena was silent for a moment. Her eyes were wide with fear, but she quickly hid it behind a calm face. "I knew something was wrong. I've heard the whispers too, but I didn't want to believe them. My father's getting older, and many people are worried about the future." Lucas put a hand on her shoulder, feeling protective. "Elena, you need to be careful. I don't know what they plan to do, but I'll do everything I can to keep you safe." Elena smiled at him, her eyes softening. "Thank you, Lucas. You're a true friend." Lucas's heart swelled with emotion. He had always admired Elena, but now he felt a deep sense of loyalty toward her. He would do anything to protect her. As the days went on, Lucas and Elena began to work together. Lucas gathered a small group of trusted villagers who agreed to help. They kept watch, gathering information, and making sure no one got too close to Elena or the palace. Elena, though she was the princess, was brave and not afraid to take action. she quietly helped Lucas in any way she could. They formed a secret alliance, working together to protect her and the kingdom. As the weeks passed, the tension in the kingdom grew. More and more people began to speak of rebellion. The people were restless, and some even began to gather in secret to plan their move against the royal family. Lucas and Elena's bond grew stronger. They spent many nights talking about what the future might hold and how they could save the kingdom from the dangers ahead. Lucas could see that Elena was not just a beautiful princess, but also a strong and thoughtful young woman. She cared deeply for the people, even if they sometimes misunderstood her. One day, Lucas gathered a group of villagers in a small, hidden room in the village. Elena was with them. Together, they planned how to keep the rebellion at bay. The villagers were nervous, but they trusted Lucas and Elena. "We have to be careful," Lucas said. "We don't know who we can trust yet, but we will protect the kingdom, and we'll make sure Princess Elena stays safe." Elena spoke up, her voice steady. "I can't just hide away in the palace while my people are in trouble. I have to stand with you, Lucas. I won't let the kingdom fall apart." Lucas looked at her, impressed by her courage. He had always known she was strong, but now he saw just how determined she was to help her people. With their alliance in place, Lucas, Elena, and their group set out to stop the rebellion. They worked in secret, making plans and preparing for the worst. But they didn't give up hope. They knew that if they worked together, they could restore peace to the kingdom. As the days passed, the rebellion came closer, but Lucas and Elena were ready. They would face the challenges ahead, not just as friends, but as allies, fighting for a better future